What's up, K-Sap? Yeah. James Ford, that's me. Let me talk to him. Let's get it.
I'm simply ball dropping, simply ball dropping. Chopping up these topics, man, I'm simply ball dropping. Driving coast to coast, making moves, ain't stopping. Driving coast to coast, making moves, ain't stopping. Nah.
Hey, let me put you on game. These other podcasts out here talking that shit, but ain't repping the same. It's my bro K-Sap, chopping up topics for your optics. From politics to your top picks. Tune in, you gotta watch this. Exclusive material for your radio, stereo, pumping high definition. Stop what you doing and listen. We smashing all competition. You better jump on this wave. Somebody pass me a mic, man, I got something to say.
And now, your host of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast, the man behind the mic, K-Sap.
You know what it is. You know what it be. One of the livest podcasts on the planet. That's right, the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Once again, I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. In today's episode, man, we're just going to address a little elephant in the room. I get hit up by a lot of podcasters through my DM asking me certain questions on, how do I get people to listen to my podcast? How do I get people to view, my YouTube channel and view my podcast? I got started late in the YouTube game, but I'm making progression now. So I did some things to get people to tune into my show, to get the views on my YouTube, because I started out late, because all I was focused on was the audio uploads and people listening to it without doing visuals. And so I created a YouTube channel. I threw some videos on there, some old videos that I recorded of me, in my first studio, doing some sessions, and put them on my YouTube channel. And, I had a few people look at them. But when we come back, we're going to tell you exactly how we do it and how we gain some progression to get people to start viewing our YouTube channel. And when we get back, we'll dive off into it. But here's a word from our sponsor.
Boho Chic Boutique is dedicated to the lovers of fashion, specializing in bohemian chic handbags, accessories, and personal shopping. Visit Boho Chic Boutique at bohochictx.com.
BOHOCHICTX.com.
So yeah, if you get a chance, go visit bohochictx.com, the website. They specialize in jewelry, handbags, personal shopping, beads, bracelets for men. Just give them, just check it out. It's a small black business, and, we support, small black businesses. So you get a chance, visit www.bohochictx.com for all your personal accessories and personal shopping. But what we're here to talk about today is gaining some YouTube views. And like I stated, I started out late in the YouTube game. I wish I would have started little things earlier, but this is how I've been able to get people to view my live shows and view my videos that I put on YouTube. First off, it's three things that I really focus on. I focus on the sound clarity, I focus on the visual, and I focus on things that will draw people in to look at your show. And they always say presentation's half the battle. So if you got good presentation, it's going to draw people in. I get a lot of people in the podcast community. They DM me their YouTube channels and I go watch their shows. So everybody knows that when Simply Ball Dropping watches your show, I always I subscribe, and I always comment. And I always tell people that your particular show the content that you're given, you should be getting more views than what you have, because there's a lot of podcasters out here that's giving you great content. But when I look at their YouTube channels, you're getting 4 and 5 views over a podcast that you posted 2 weeks ago or 3 days ago. And you don't have enough traction coming to your YouTube channel. So some of the things that have worked for me, because I started out, I had like 20 some subscribers. Then it started growing. I went up to about 50. Then I got to 100. And now I'm like at 293 subscribers. And when I first started putting my show on YouTube, I had a few views and stuff like that, but nothing major. But then when I started doing the research on, how to get more views and things that I incorporated on my channel, it has worked for me, because you guys, like I stated before in the previous podcast, I've done things to find my niche and to stay in my own lane and to do things that work for me. So this is what's been working for me. Presentation, the audio clarity, and the good visual. There's a lot of people that have a great product out there, but when you look at it from the naked eye and the eye test, the presentation is sloppy. I mean, if you're doing a YouTube channel and you're putting your podcast on YouTube, one thing you want to focus on is making sure that the people can hear you. And some of the background drops that people have, that turns people off, because you really can't get the full concept. I mean, sometimes you got people talking over people. You really can't hear the message that you're trying to deliver. So when I cleaned some of that stuff up, it started working for me. Also with the catchy thumbnails, putting the thumbnail in front of that video before it plays. Thumbnails draw people in. It gets their attention. Like I said, presentations half the battle. If they see a good presentation, they're going to click on it. I mean, they can look at it. They might not look at the whole thing, but they're going to look at it, but because it draws them in. So first off, you got to focus on your audio clarity, because like I said, it's a lot of great content out there, but sometimes the message comes across as distorted. The feedback from, if you're using a microphone, if you're using a audio interface, you got to make sure your frequencies are set right, because if they're not set right, the message that's come through the audio is going to be distorted and nobody can hear your message. And then also the visuals, like, if you're building a brand, you want to put a brand out there. You don't want it to be sloppy. You want to focus on things. You can't just say, I'm going to hop up on YouTube and just do something real quick. That's not going to cut it. That's just like some of these live videos on Instagram. I mean, the presentation is horrible. I'm just stating facts. The presentation is horrible. You got people that get on Instagram and, when their show starts, they're not ready. They got all this background noise. They got people running around. It's like, if you're building a brand and you have a business and you're doing a podcast, when you're doing a podcast, you want to be in a place where, everything's A1. You don't want to have no distractions, because you want people to gravitate to your show. I do a lot of research. I mean, if you look at most of these successful YouTubers, I mean, their presentation and their thumbnails is off the chart. I mean, they do a lot of things that, draws you in for you to click on that particular show. And, YouTube has an algorithm, right? If you get yourself in that algorithm of the videos and downloads on your topics and stuff, the way that you put it out there and the wording, your choice of wording, you're going to fall in that algorithm, and people are going to click on your show because it's in that algorithm. It's in that line. So people are going to, tune into it. Like, I did an episode on the Roundtable Talk when Tabitha Brown, her episode when, she retired her husband. You know what I'm saying? Husband retired from the police force, and that was a big story. So everybody was talking about it. So the roundtable talk that we did, we talked about it. And when I did that video, I did it live on YouTube and Facebook and my Simply Ball Dropping Facebook page, and people tuned in. But the thing about it is, when I did that and the way I worded it, it fell in that Tabitha Brown algorithm because she was trending. So I looked at my video and I'm like, man, had 599 people, 600 people, tune into that show, watch that, viewed that. You know what I'm saying? So it fell in that algorithm. So that's one thing I've learned is the way you word stuff and the topics that you're talking about and the way that you put it out there, you're going to fall in that algorithm in YouTube, and people are going to, because it's trending and people are going to watch that video. So if you got people watching your video and you got a great presentation, they're going to come back regardless of what you're talking about. They're going to come back. I'm not saying I know it all, but I've started out with 4 and 5 views on my podcast on YouTube, but now it's starting to climb up there to 50, 60, 70, 80 to 100 to 120. So the channel is growing. The subscribers are coming, and all the subscribers are coming organically. Also, I alleviated doing my live shows on Facebook personal page and my Simply Ball Dropping page. I'm only doing the live videos now on YouTube because I want to grow my YouTube channel. I was giving people too many options on my live show. Now, I would go live. I would broadcast it to Facebook, my personal page. I would broadcast it to my Simply Ball Dropping page and my YouTube channel. Facebook, you look at the views, 200-300 views on your personal page. Then I look at my Simply Ball Dropping page, and I had like 100 to 200 people viewing that. But then when I look at my YouTube, I had 4 and 5. I was giving people too many options. So now it's a lot of people that for personal reasons are not on Facebook, but everybody goes to YouTube. Everybody's on YouTube looking at something, trying to find something, looking at a tutorial, how to fix something or anything. Just celebrities be on their posts and stuff. People go watch it. So I said, let me cut that out. I want to drive all my traffic to my YouTube channel. So once I cut them options out and just started broadcasting live on YouTube and sending people over to my YouTube channel, that's when I started picking up more subscribers that I had on Facebook, because the only option that they had if they wanted to see a live Simply Ball Dropping podcast live, they would have to tune into YouTube. Anybody can go on YouTube. So my numbers started picking up. So I alleviated that, got rid of the Facebook Live, got rid of the Simply Ball Dropping Facebook Live, and concentrated on trying to build my YouTube channel. The audio still goes up on all the streaming platforms for people to listen to. Them numbers are still climbing, but I'm trying to focus on building my brand on this YouTube channel and building up my subscribers and my views, because everybody wants to try to be a successful YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a podcast dude. I'm the man behind the mic of the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. So I do a podcast, but I want my podcast to be seen. I want my podcast to be heard. So I'm trying to drive this YouTube channel to where people can get a good visual and good audio clarity and hear what we're talking about. It's too many times that I watch people's podcasts that the presentation is not there, and that's going to draw people off. You got different things going on. You got people talking over each other. You can't hear the content that they're driving. The viewer is missing the message because it's kind of distorted. That's why when I started this and I got on YouTube, I said, man, I got to make sure that my sound clarity is there. I got to make sure my visual is there. And I got to make sure my presentation is great, because like I said, presentation is half the battle. If you get through the presentation, everything else will fall in line. So focus on getting your audio clarity, focus on your visuals. Now, once I started incorporating them thumbnails, them catchy little thumbnails, it's been working for me. So it might not work for everybody, but it's working for me. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I have people that DM me and ask me, how are you getting people to view your live shows? And a lot of podcasters, they know that when I comment on their podcast on YouTube, I always tell them, man, you got great content and your show should be getting more views than what it's getting. I don't know why, in the podcast game with people that are just upcoming podcasters or putting out great content, just the normal people, the views are not there. So once again, just like people trying to get, people to listen to their podcasts on these streaming platforms, you just got to, find what works for you. You got to find your niche. You got to find the lane that you need to drive in where there's no cars and you're going at your own pace. And I think I've pretty much mastered that in the audio world of the downloading platforms where people listen to my podcast. I'm pretty much comfortable with that. I'm pretty much, in tune with everything's going on these streaming platforms when people listen to my podcast. Like I said, the numbers are still growing. Now I got to focus on this YouTube thing and getting people to view and get my numbers to go up like this, because I want this to be a successful podcast and I want my podcast seen around the world. I mean, it only takes one person to see that podcast and it can take off. So that's what I'm striving towards. And these are some of the tips and tricks that I do to get people to view, my show. Like I said, when I started out, 3 and 4 views, I'd be like, man, ain't nobody looking at these videos, man. Ain't nobody looking at these podcasts on this YouTube channel. And then when I switched some things up, did my research, started adding the thumbnails, making sure my visual was nice, making sure the audio clarity was there. And when I conduct the show, when we do these podcasts, these roundtable talks and these marriage chronicles, when somebody's talking, we don't talk over each other. We let them get out. We let them get off what they need to say so everybody can hear it. So when it's broadcast, it won't just sound like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. A lot of people are saying things at once, and that's not going to work because you're going to miss the message. So that's another thing that you need to focus on. Like a lot of podcasters have 6 and 7 people that are doing the podcast, but you only can hear, one person because everybody else is in the background. They might not have a mic. They might not be, hooked up to the interface. So you can't hear the message that they're displaying, and you're missing the message. And a lot of people will click on that. They'll click off because they'll be like, I can't understand what they're saying. I can't hear them. So one thing to focus on, just make sure that you have good sound clarity and your visual is nice. Presentation is half the battle. So you get them 3 things down, and also start doing them thumbnails, them creative thumbnails that draw people in when you upload your videos to YouTube. Also, the catchy words, the way you word whatever you're talking about on your podcast, it draws people in. People go up and search on YouTube and they can type in late night sex, and you might be talking about late night sex, and yours is going to come up in that YouTube search. They're going to click on it and, create a thumbnail that basically, has something to do with late night sex. And that draws people in. The visuals draw people in to watch your show. And if they click on it and they see something, they be like, oh man, this clickbait. No, it's not clickbait. You watch the show. I mean, a lot of YouTubers say they do things to get clickbait to get people to watch their show. But nah, we don't do no clickbait over here. Everything that we do is authentic, man. And like I said, my channel is starting to grow, and these are things that are working for me. So everybody that's out there, listening and watching this, stream right now, this is what I wanted to do for you guys, because a lot of people hit me up and ask me, how are you getting your views to go up? And these are some of the things that I'm doing. So it's something that I do a lot of research to see what videos people watching, what people are saying, what are their headlines of their shows, how do they word it. So I try to get myself into that YouTube algorithm where my podcast pops up when they do a search. So they'll click on it. But them thumbnails, when people go on YouTube and they search thing, they see a thumbnail, some people just click on it and they start following you and, watching your show. And then, your YouTube channel starts to grow and then your podcast is known. And I always tell people, man, tell a friend to tell a friend, because there's a lot of great podcasters that we network with, man, that's in this community, man. And y'all have great content. Y'all have great things that you talk about, great topics. But one thing that I see is a lot of sloppiness. I see a lot of stuff that can be changed to help you grow, but it's presentation is half the battle. So once you master that, then your channel will grow, because it's too many podcasts out here that are doing the damn thing. And if they have a YouTube channel and you look at their YouTube channel, you look, man, they got some great content. But then you look and be like, man, why only 6 people watch this video? It should be more people watching the great content that we are displaying. I mean, sometimes you can't rush your product. You know what I'm saying? You can't just throw something out there and think somebody is going to bite on it. It takes time, like whatever you do in your production, whatever you and your team do. I mean, you got to get together. So when you get on these live shows and these live streams and you do these uploads, you got to make sure that this is right, because this is your brand, and you want to stand behind your brand and you want to be confident in what you're putting out there. So if you have good visuals, good audio, and people can hear your message, because y'all have great content. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out how to get more views. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that we all strive for. We want everybody to listen to our podcast. And that's one thing that I'm working on. So I'm finding different ways to help me along the way. And I just, knowledge is power. So if I have the knowledge that I'm doing something, I'm going to pass it on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything is positive. Negativity is too expensive for the soul. So it's everything that I do is positive. I don't show no negativity toward nobody that's in the podcast game. I try to help everybody out when they ask me a question. I try to, respond to them. I try, when they DM me their YouTube shows, I go subscribe. I watch their shows. I comment. I'll interact with them when they're doing their live shows. I get a lot of podcasters that always shout Simply Ball Dropping Out because I'm always on a live stream. And I'm telling them, man, keep up the good work, man. This is great content. I'm interacting in the topics that they're talking about, and they responding back to me. So that's one thing that I do. I don't know about all the other podcasters when they watching somebody's YouTube channel. Are they just, saying that they're watching it, but they're not watching it? But Simply Ball Dropping don't roll that way. Like I said, everything's positive over here. And like I said, negativity is too expensive for the soul. So the thing about it is just change up a few things that you're doing on your YouTube channel. And I'm telling you, it's going to work. Things are working for me. It's a slow process, but hey, I'm here for the grind. I'm here for the long haul. And, the things that I do is helping me. Me and my team, we discuss this all the time. We sit down and we talk how we can get better at what we're doing, ways to make the show better, ways to incorporate different things. So when I'm incorporating these different things, I'm trying things out and it's working. So just tinkering with some things, moving some things around. And I'm telling you, it is all up from here. So, I mean, if I can do it, everybody else that has a YouTube podcast, they can do it too. But I'm just trying to get everybody to understand that us podcasts, man, we got great content, man. We got great shows, but we just need more eyes on our shows. And this is one way that it can help. If you would change up some things with your visual, no more sloppy presentations. You know what I'm saying? Your audio has to be clear for people to hear you. And you can get people to engage in your podcast, man, and you'll go a long way. But it's certain things that you can just tinker with and you'll be successful. And, I just wanted to make this short and brief because a lot of people do ask me on what am I doing to improve my podcast. And this is the things that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Over here at Simply Ball Dropping, we always put our heads together. We try to find ways to, go up. We can't go back. It's only up from here. So, it's great that everybody is focused in on, but y'all have great content. Us podcasters, we have great content. Our shows are dope. And we got to get more eyes on our shows, and that will happen. And it's just certain things that you got to change up. But if you change up a few things, you'll climb to the top. But, that's what that is. And, the fall is coming. And, see, I got my Simply Ball Dropping hoodie on. You can always go purchase that hoodie. I mean, we do have a website, that you can purchase all your Simply Ball Dropping apparel. I'll post it at the screen. The link is down here, www.simplybaldropping.com for all your, Simply Ball Dropping apparel. Just continue to rock with us. Continue to be patient. I mean, we coming. We bringing that content. We bringing that heat. The Marriage Chronicles is coming back. So I just wanted to talk to you guys for a brief second. But, that's going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. Once again, I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. And we're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.